I'm Matt Williamson. What's going on? Lots. A lot going on in the AFC. A lot going on with the Steelers. I am recording this Monday night, so I don't know, Tomlin press conference, injuries, stuff like that. So I'll probably do a show somewhat related to that tomorrow, seeing what we hear from there. But as we always do the day after the game, I'm going to start with snap counts, participation, and on offense. Steelers ran 72 plays, better than it's been. The time of possession things and out-snapping your opponent finally starting to come around. But Frazier, Faltanu, McCormick, Rudolph, Siamalu all played 72 out of 72. Metcalf played 61, 49 for both Darnell and Broderick Jones. Gainwell played 37 compared to 36 for Warren. Jonnu, 35. Freiermuth, 34. Calvin Austin, 33. He's back to basically being the number one, which by default, I assume. But I like that tight end numbers, by the way. Skoranek is next behind Austin at 26. 23 for Calvin Anderson. Saw him in the backfield quite a bit in this game. Roman Wilson with 20. Same with Spencer Anderson. I'm sorry, I had Calvin Anderson there. I've got Spencer Anderson was the one in the backfield. Calvin took over for Broderick. 5 for Scotty Miller, and 4 for Connor Hayward. 1 tush pushish. On defense, they only played 65. I shouldn't say this. Just say, they played 65 snaps on defense. And, okay, defensive players to play every snap. Duggar, Queen, Ramsey. Pierre only missed 1. So he was the starter and the finisher at corner. Herbig played 60. Watt played 53. 49 for Benton. Cam was out there for 47. 44 for Porter until he got hurt, and then he was replaced directly by Slay. Peyton Wilson for 40. Malik Harrison for 39. That makes me crazy. I mean, to me, I understand their strengths. We talked about this a little yesterday. Harrison playing 39 snaps is a crime, and he isn't close to the player Peyton Wilson is. They should not be one snap differentiating those two. Anyway. 31 to Harmon, 20 for Sawyer and Slay in total backup duty. Y.E. Black with 13, more on him later, and Otowenwo with 5.
Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials, so you can join in on all the action.
Some other stat stuff that I think is telling, and then a lot of notes. This is how we usually do the shows I record on Monday. Plays per drive, 7.4 for the Steelers compared to 5.8 for the Bears. They did hold the ball. This is one of our goals. Yards per drive. This has been a problem for the Steelers all year, but they had 30.4 compared to 24.1. Good. Points per drive. Bears win that one, 2.4 to 2-0. Red zone plays, 11 against 9, favoring the Steelers. Both teams were 100% in the red zone. So I think the red zone offense is something that's noteworthy here. Red zone D could be better. Rushing yards before contact. 2.9 yards for the Steelers. That's a big number. There were a lot of holes. Chicago, with a really good running game, was only at 1.9. So there's a whole yard difference of rushing yards before contact. After contact also favored the Steelers. 2.3 to 1.4. Steelers won all aspects of the running game in this game. Explosive runs, 2 each. Okay, yeah. Tackles for loss in the run game. The Steelers defense only had 1, but the Steelers offense only allowed 2. There weren't a lot of negative plays in this game, especially from a rushing perspective. This is a huge problem area. Explosive passes. kind of sums up the season in some ways. Chicago had 7 explosive passes. Steelers only had 2. This is something that people around that cover the team and other local folks like myself just aren't talking about enough. But the explosive pass differential is brutal. Batted passes, the Steelers did not bat any down, but they had 2 batted down, 2 by Chicago. So when you adjust the completion percentage in terms of like, spikes and throwaways and things like that don't matter. Steelers completed 86% of their passes. And that's great. Don't get me wrong. But it's also all the easy throws. On the other hand, Chicago only completed 63% of their passes. Williams missed a lot of throws, and he's done that all year. And I think he is a kind of a star in the making. But I think that the Steelers kind of knew he would miss throws. Now, I wish it wasn't to the point where the only time that they felt like they stopped him was he missed a throw. But they also didn't rush him like crazy to sack him. They rushed him to rush throws to some degree, if that makes sense. Yards after the catch, Steelers had 116 compared to 97. Average depth of target. Now, here tells a big story when we talk about that completion percentage. Chicago's average depth of target was 9 yards downfield. Steelers are only 6.3. So even with Rudolph, everything is short. And that's with a couple deep balls attempts that weren't very fruitful. Deep passes, 0 for 3 for the Steelers. The Bears were 2 of 4. You got to complete 1 or 2 of them. That's really what it comes down to. Pressures, the Steelers had 8. They allowed 6. The Steelers did not get credited with a quarterback hit. The Bears got credited with 2. Unblocked pressures. The Steelers created 2. The Bears created 0. Both pretty short numbers. They're small numbers. Time to throw. Once again, and this seems to be the case in every Steeler game, 2 very low numbers, time to throw. And Caleb Williams was the highest time to throw in the league coming in. But he was at 2.68, which is quicker than average. Rudolph was at 2.59. Everything's quick. And I always find it funny that teams attack the Steelers the same way the Steelers attack defenses. Everything quick throws. Success rate. How often do you have a successful play? The Steelers' offense was in the 89th percentile. They were also in the 89th percentile in EPA per rush, which factors in big plays and how effective you are per play. But only 13th in explosive play rate again. Just no explosion from the offense at all. And in the 25th percentile in EPA per dropback. The whole passing game minus the protection was poor. But I definitely want to... So... Any way you look at third down situation, Steeler offense was really good. So that was promising. But the Steelers defense might have been as bad on third downs as the Steelers offense was good. So just when you can't seem to put it all together. But the Bears were kind of a tale of 2 teams here. They were really good on third downs, but they were in the 25th percentile of early down success rate. So Steelers did a really good job on the early downs, but then third down, the dam breaks. But because the Bears were 81st percentile on late down success rate. So they were really successful on late downs, really unsuccessful on early downs. Bears offense I'm talking about. Now, I thought both offenses, and the numbers bear this out as well, were very good in not taking negative plays in terms of sacks, tackles for loss. So overall, both offenses didn't do a lot of negative stuff. I thought the O-line was exceptional in this game. And I think we should be very excited about the state of this offensive line, especially moving people in the run game. I thought the interior 3 really stood out there. They were moving bodies. And as we mentioned with the stat earlier, yards before first contact. You can give those guys a lot of credit for that. Rudolph was only pressured on 6 dropbacks, and a couple of them were definitely him holding the ball too long in the pocket, by the way. So again, O-line was phenomenal. To me, that's one of the most encouraging things going with the Steelers. Another highly, highly impactful game from Darnell Washington. You just feel his presence all the time, no matter what they're doing. Metcalf, on the other hand, man, DK Metcalf, his average depth of target in this game is only 6 yards downfield. Like, this is a guy every year with Seattle was at the absolute top of the league in terms of high ADOT, average depth of target. 6 yards downfield. And only 0.73 yards per route run. That's really, really low. It's making me a little crazy. Again, the starting left tackle for the Bears was inactive. And I mentioned that Caleb Williams had a 2.68 time to throw, which is low. That's his second fastest of the season, and it's only his second game ever in his career averaging under 3.0 seconds. So this is very unusual for him, but that's how everyone attacks the Steelers. They got to compensate for this stuff. He was at his best on passes, quick throws, under 2.5. He was 11 of 17 on those quick passes for 156 and a touchdown. 9.2 yards per attempt on passes, short passes under 2.5 seconds. Otherwise, he was 8 of 17 for 83 yards, 2 touchdowns on passes over 2.5 seconds. So under 2.5 seconds, he was at 9.2. Over 2.5 seconds, he's at 4.9. I mean, that's kind of rare. I found this interesting going into Monday Night Football in terms of just total EPA, what they brought to the table. Of all the running backs, Jahmyr Gibbs is first. If you paid any attention to him or play fantasy football, you totally understand why. Gainwell is second. Monangai from the Bears is third. And Warren is ninth. So big games, really productive, really meaningful games from 3 of the 4 running backs in this game. When you look at all the defensive players in the league going into Monday Night Football, Myles Garrett, who went crazy yet again against the Raiders and is going to win Defensive Player of the Year, has the most total EPA. But Sweat from the Bears was second. TJ Watt was fourth. Nashawn Wright, who had the pick and has had a tremendous season, is seventh. This is the entire league, folks. And Y.A. Black was eighth. Nashawn Wright's having an unbelievable year. I didn't know anything about him before the season, but he's been unbelievable. Black had the big fumble recovery. I mean, so obviously that's a big portion of EPA. But if you just watch his snaps, I was starting to worry about him a little bit. I didn't think he was playing great before this game, but he was a brick wall against the run. I mean, he was just a man amongst boys. So I thought that was really encouraging. Was not impressed with the linebacker play at all. And I'm really singling out Harrison here. I think it's time to be done with that experiment. I don't care that you're a little light with Wilson and Queen out there, but Harrison just gets picked on over and over. He just doesn't, he's not an NFL caliber coverage linebacker. And someone like Ben Johnson's going to exploit that over and over. I think it's pretty clear at this point that they just do not play zone coverage consistently well enough, but they don't have the guys to play man. The zone coverage stuff to me is just really worrisome, and I don't know how that gets fixed. The offense gets nothing, as we mentioned, from deep shots, and they don't really have good deep ball players. Now, I'm sure we could throw, well, it'd be nice if they had Pickens. Yeah. Metcalf's a good deep shot guy, but only if he's running by people. And if he's always got a corner in a trail position and a safety over the top, it's really hard to run past people. Where Wilson and Austin play small with the ball in the air downfield, and they're just getting nothing from the deep shots. And Rudolph threw the ball very poorly on his deep balls. Turnover differential. So here we go. Here's how I'm going to sum this game up. Is overall, and again, I've had a day to marinate on this. The Steelers were more efficient. They absolutely were. Snap after snap after snap. They were the more efficient team. But as mentioned, the Bears were the more explosive team. Now, I'm not sure which I'd rather have, but they're basically equal importance to me. But explosiveness has been a real problem for the Steelers. But the Bears were also +2 in turnover differential when you factor in, as you should, missed field goals, which don't apply here, and missed fourth down conversions. So you're -2 in fourth down conversions when you basically you hand the football over to the opponent. So my best way of summing this thing up without, we've already dug into all the finer details, but the Steelers were more efficient. The Bears were more explosive. And Chicago was +2 in turnover differential when you look at it properly. There you have it. And you lose. Over and out.